What's going on, guys? Welcome back. It's Ample here, and in this video I'm going to go over the peaks that I wish I knew about when I first started playing Fortnite, how to use them, and some common mistakes that occur when trying to use these peaks. So with that being said, let's get started with some of the basic peaks in the game. So the first peak is the beloved peanut butter edit peak. This peanut butter edit peak, or the top right hand corner peak, consists of these three tiles right here. Usually it's kind of like done in a rainbow, but some people can do it really straight like that, like this, really tight. And this peak is commonly used. It's probably like the #1 used peak. And some things you need to keep in mind is don't confirm the edit when you're all the way to the right. And the another thing you need to remember is when you jump, don't jump out to the right. So you need to be to the left and stay to the left like this. And it's a little small window. You can also use the peak as long as you're to the left of this edit button or this little bullet here. You should be okay, but you really want to be all the way to the left almost. And as you go ahead and take your shot on your opponent, you want to jump up, take a shot, and reset and hold. That's really important. So when you take this edit, you want to jump, reset, hold. Another thing that you need to keep in mind is do not use this edit if your opponent is aggressing you and they're like this and they're waiting for you at this side of the wall. So this is what it's going to look like for them. They're going to be like this and they're going to jump in your box and you're going to be really upset. So do not use this edit if they are pretty much on your wall. And another thing you need to look for is, as an opposing player, when you're attacking and you do this edit, a lot of good players, what they'll do is they'll swing down to the right like this, pickaxe your wall, take it, and then window edit and shoot you. So just keep that in mind as well. If they're close to your wall, you probably don't want to do this edit, especially if you're causing an angle like this. It's really not that good of a peak. So that kind of consists the basics of the peanut butter edit. One to use it is when your opponent is either a whole piece away from you or to the right of you. It's not that bad. If they're to the left of you, I don't recommend, or if they're to the right of you, I don't recommend using it. I don't really recommend using this peak unless they are in a decent, so just don't use it when they're really close to you because it is a wide open edit. The next peak I want to show you guys is the classic window peak. A lot of people will do a full window like this or a window on the left hand side. My preferable opinion is to do the far right. What this does is it gives you the most material on your left, so chances of you making a mistake and doing an edit here where you don't have much cover, you're not creating much of a right hand peak, you're much better off to get the right window. And this peak looks like this. Right? So that's really important. So you need to be able to crouch and then recrouch really quick. So it's not like that. See how this crouch looks different? I'm crouching, recrouching. Then there's this. So what I'm doing is I'm crouching, jumping, and then crouching again really quick. Okay. Now the time you want to do this is when you have kids that are really annoying, or an opponent that's really annoying, and they are running at your wall here. So instead of doing this edit where they're here running at your wall, AR spamming your wall, you can simply open this edit and pump them in the mouth. You might not even do it from that close, you might do it from here, but as long as you have the material on the left hand side of you and your opponent not on the right hand side of you, they'll be able to do that. And doing the right hand side window edit is going to be optimal. The one time I do like to do this edit is if I'm placing a cone in someone's box really quickly. I can still do it with the right hand, which I do prefer if you can, but the one time you really want to do the middle window edit is when there's a ramp in their box or when they are on the left side. So even here, this is a pretty good peak, right hand side, if they're on this side of the box on the ramp. But if your opponent is on the underside of the ramp right here, do not do this edit right here. You can, but it's really hard to get in the right position to do it. It's much easier to do this, and then you have more material. See how much material I have? I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars of material versus like 1, 2, 3. It's a huge difference for your coverage. So you can hit them still. You can still hit them doing this, and it's a really good way to do it. So as you can still do it here too for these guys. It's kind of, if there's a ramp in the box, I almost always resort to the middle because I have the top and the bottom position in control. Like I can see both ends. So if they do like a weird ramp flip or something, I have a higher chance of being able to attack them. That's kind of the window edit. The times you don't want to do this is when you're standing right in the middle of the window edit. It's really hard to get out of the habit if you are running up to an edit like this and you're in the open. You have to make sure that you're to the right of the edit and your opponent is to the left of your edit. Even if I'm to the right and my opponent is over here, this isn't a good peek. Okay, if my opponent's standing here and I'm standing here, this isn't a good peek. My opponent needs to be on the left hand side of my cursor when I go to attack them. They need to be the left hand side of this window. So that's super important with the window edit. And after you take that shot, it's really hard to get used to, but if you can, reset and hold, just like all the other peaks. So that's peak number 2 that I wish I knew, and all the things I kind of wish I knew about it when I first started. The next peak I really like to use sometimes is this right here. So I'll be full box and maybe have an opponent that way, right? And I need a little bit of a peek on them. This one right here is old, but it's pretty good. The higher up you are, usually like right here, it's pretty good. And what I can do is I can shoot, and from their perspective, they can't even see me. I'm pretty much shooting through the builds, and then I can even like change the angle. Like I have lots of control over it. Sometimes you'll shoot your own builds and stuff like that, but even this is pretty good. Like I'm pretty protected relative, and then I have 2 things to reset myself. So that's a good peak to get used to making. Alright, the next thing I kind of want to talk about is kind of like this one peak. Now this isn't really a peak, I guess. It is a peak. I don't know if you'd call it that. And it's this one here. So say I had an opponent in this box here, and they had a peanut butter edit. They'll always go like this, and they'll try to shoot you. Well, as the person that's using the peak, you want to be up against holding this wall. I can see them. See, I can see where they are. I can actually shoot them. Lower they are, it's harder, but when they jump, you'll be able to shoot up there really easily. And if you pull out from the door like just a little bit when they go to there, you'll be able to have a little bit of an advantage. But they'll be able to, they won't be able to see you here. I can't see this back corner. So let me show you. I'll drop a gun here to resemble me. Perfect. See? I can't see the gun, barely can see the gun. Like, and my shot's gonna be eaten up by the wall. Alright, compared to the view I get of him from here, it's a huge angle. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll swing on this wall, right, try to take it, or maybe I'll even place a cone, right, and attack him like that. And when he opens up or runs out, like he'll run out like this, I'll have this peak, I'll be able to reset and I'll be fine. So just knowing this little peak here has made me such a better player over the last few months. Another peak that a lot of players don't know about, is especially in box fights, I've noticed, is sometimes they'll have, maybe I don't have this wall, or maybe to destroy this wall, I can edit my cone like this and get a nice little peek off. It's the same thing as the peanut butter edit essentially. It's creating the same shape. And what that does is sometimes like you can just get him a little bit off on that. Maybe he destroys your wall. You edit that cone real quick. So let's just say he air spins this wall, I go like this, and then I get a free shot because he thought he could run up in front of me. So that's a really nice little peek that you guys can do that makes this protected, and I got myself a new peanut butter edit peek. Something small that I think a lot of players don't realize is this is the same thing as this essentially. Or another peek that I really love using is when I'm stuck in a situation with my opponent in the box like this, I will edit like this. So say my opponent is, let's see, my opponent is right there, right? Or let's just say right over there. What I'll do, he's standing right underneath this blue tile here. I'll go like this, I'll move over to the left, I'll confirm. And what will happen is when he confirms it, when I confirm that, he'll be standing here. He can't really see me here. Okay? He's blinded. It's gonna get eaten by here. And from my perspective, I can see him quite easily. So the key is to do, what you wanna do is wherever your opponent is, you wanna edit whatever side of the wall he's on. Hopefully he's on the side of the wall. You wanna edit left to right and be on the left side. And what that will do is put you in a position where I kind of have this peak. I'm using this kind of as my peak and let me win. So my opponent's on this side of the ramp at the back end of that wall. I'll go like this, have my shotgun ready, boom. And hopefully from his perspective, if he's on the back wall, he's can't see me. That's a peak that a lot of players don't know about. Another peak that a lot of players don't know about, especially in build fights when you have low ground, it's really tough for people that don't realize this. You can actually open up like this and do like this little popper peek, and believe it or not, it's really hard for them to hit. Like, I can jump. You don't really want to be at the top because that leaves you up in the air too long. You kind of want to be down here. You can't be at the you could be at the very bottom, but it makes it a little harder. It gives you a little bit more of a window time. So you can go like this, boom, and then like a quick reset like this. And this little, what I'm doing is I'm creating, using this wall here, right, this edge of this line here, to create like a little bit of a peak on myself. I'm only popping up a little bit of my head. And if I'm full health and they're high ground, that can be very useful, especially if they're high ground. I can go like this. Really, really nice. Here's one that I haven't used yet, but I do see a lot of players saying how good it is. If you have an opponent that's up here, I'll create an opponent for you. Your opponent is here in this box where my AR is, right? What you apparently can do, I haven't used it yet, is edit your ramp like this in your box and do a little peek shot, and it can be apparently pretty lethal. And I get it because you're really covered. And what that's doing is kind of creating a peanut butter, right? Like a triangle edit in the middle of your box, which is pretty nice. So if you use it properly, you might be able to execute that peak and it might save your life. Now, the number one peak that I think every player needs to learn, and it's the most basic peak in the game, it is this right here. So let's say I have an opponent standing here. I'll destroy that. Say I have an opponent standing right here, oops, in this box. Maybe he's got a cone or something. Let's just say I get this wall, this peak right here, literally right here. It's the same thing as this being way back here, but let's just say I have established complete dominance and I even got a cone in this box and he's above my cone and he's standing in that corner. You need to use this line right here, this little line right here, to establish your dominance. So I'm using this little peak, right? But even further back I am, the stronger the peak should be, technically speaking. But it doesn't matter. The point is, I'm using this line, and I see so many people, they'll come here and then in the middle of their edit, they'll go like this. It's like, you're gonna get shot. If I do the edit over here, confirm it over here, and then do this little right hand peek, I have some protection. So that's probably the most broken, underrated peak that never gets used in the game, which is kind of sad because it's one of the easiest ones to start using. And real quick, we're going to go over the last peak I think every Fortnite player needs to have, and that is the beloved Maritas peak. So usually for the Maritas peak, this is what they call it. These kind of made it popular. It requires you to have an opponent above you, right? And it's kind of versatile. I've noticed you can use it different ways. And essentially, if you have a floor, you can open it up like this and open up your cone like this, or you could also just place a ramp. But usually in my situation, I usually have a cone, so I grab the cone and edit it into a ramp. You can jump up and do this little jump peak. So it's only going to work on like your first 2 jumps, because after that, jump fatigue usually will kick in after a while. But simply jump up like this. I did a single tile edit. You can do a double tile edit as well and go like this, right? Jump up and shoot the opponent. So again, the setup looks like this from your point of view. Simply just that, or simply just this. So you go floor ramp like this, and that's really, really quick to set up. And it takes a while to get used to the positioning of where you're supposed to be. To give you an idea, this is where I am right now. And you don't want to be like right up against the edge, but just a little farther back and you'll be fine. Well, I think that's majority of the peaks that I think I use on a day-to-day basis that have really helped me improve at the game. Let me know if I missed any, peak that you think has been useful to you guys. Anything that you think I may have taught in here or displayed to you guys that wasn't appropriate or maybe will get me killed, and the reason why. That's always helpful because I'm trying to get better. Hopefully this video helps some players get better, add some more peaks and tools to their kit. And if you like the video, again, please do consider dropping a like, sharing this video to your friends so they can improve and stop being complete bots at the game, and of course consider subscribing. And of course, last but not least, don't forget to use code AMPLE, AMPLE, in the item shop to help support your boy so he can keep making Fortnite videos. And with that being said, I hope to catch you guys in the next video.